welcome to this episode of our program, Daily Debate. Today is the last debate this year, and tonight we will be focusing on this year, or the developments that took place in Egypt throughout the year. This year started with many announcements. Started with the announcement of the new republic, or Egypt, the new republic. Started with reaping the fruits of 7 years of hard work, with sealing the future for our generations to come. We have been able to come to this dead end, the results of what we have achieved today. Our leadership, along with the very strong institutions in our country, has been able to grip their hands on terrorism, go into, in parallel with the developmental projects and Egypt's strategic vision 2030, along with all the developments that took place in Egypt. We'll be tonight focusing and touching briefly on each and every development that took place in Egypt during the past 7 years, and particularly during this very particular year. We'll be also speaking about the projects that were accomplished, the many inaugurations that were made by the President himself in order to put Egypt on the right pace, or on the right track, or to show to the whole world that we are on the right path. We'll be speaking about that with our dear guest, Dr. Abdel Ghoneim, Vice President of the Arab Federation for Digital Economy. Thank you so much for being with us.
Thanks, Ratmidi. Thank you, Madam Anna. And Happy New Year to all the people in Maspero and in Egypt.
Thank you so much, and Happy New Year to you and
Thank you.
all your beloved, and to all our audience there. Before we delve into our discussion, let's first have this quick report. And President Sisi attends the closing ceremony of Upper Egypt Week. Let's watch.
Upper Egypt that is located in the western Asyut Plateau, as well as the establishment of social housing in the city of Tushka. Moreover, the film highlighted the establishment of 6 cities within the framework of the strategic plan of urban development in Egypt that aims at completing the construction of the 4th generation cities. This includes the new city of Aswan and a tourist walkway. During the inauguration of New Aswan, Sisi inaugurated several new urban communities projects and residential units via video conference in Upper Egypt, including New Inner City, New Asyut City, and New Minya City. Wrapping up the presidential tour of Upper Egypt, President Sisi attended a short ceremony held at the amphitheater at New Aswan City. The president gave his directives to the Ministries of Defense, Interior, and Housing to work on adopting the new visual identity of Aswan in the government by January 15th. In his speech to the participants in the ceremony, President Sisi said that the major development projects that the state has implemented in Upper Egypt governorates is just one step out of 1,000 steps.
Let me again welcome our distinguished guest, Dr. Abdel Ghoneim, Vice President of the Arab Federation for Digital Economy. Thank you again for being with us. And let me start ahead with the start of the year. And since the very start of this year and this big announcement of Egypt, the new republic, it was announcing a new birth to this country. Yeah. We have seen throughout 7 years enormous work that has been done. So let me take here, how did you view such an announcement after 7 years of hard work, after many challenges and hurdles and and many issues that we have contained during those 7 years.
Yeah, I think His Excellency, Mr. President Fattah al-Sisi, has a very long vision and short vision. He working parallel in mega projects, in initiatives, in different subjects like industrial constructions, transportations, and everything at the same time. I think when he means the new Egyptian Republic based on smart technological age to build a comprehensive, sustainable green society where the citizens himself enjoying safety, security, human rights, and everything, and have adequate housing and all kind of services, health and education and everything, and even for any supporting from the government, like the central bank give some aids for SMEs and all these things.
This is the monetary policy that has been achieved, part of the reforms and the programs that were put for sustainable development. Yes, please.
Yeah, I think when we achieving all this, it needs a lot of maybe thousands of millions, or maybe billions, trillions.
As the President said,
trillions.
Yes,
Yeah,
indeed.
it needs trillions. As you said before, we have a lot of challenges, external and internal.
Yes.
We have terrorism around us. We have terrorism inside and outside. We have, since COVID-19, a lot of shutdown there, and supply chains stopped sometimes between some countries, and even the prices going up.
Yes.
There is a lot of challenges. We're suffering as the other countries suffering. Do you know, before COVID-19 pandemic, our growth rate was 5.7, and we are promising to reach 6 or 7. During the pandemic, most of the countries, even in Europe, going down below 0. We're staying and decreasing from 5.7 to around 3. But anyway, since our economy is diversity economy, and since 5 years, His Excellency and the government got a lot of reforms, economic reform and administrative and even financial reforms. All these helping Egypt to stand in this pandemic and growing, I think, and even for that, most of accreditation rating like Moody's, Fitch, and Standard & Poor's stay the Egyptian economy stable, and they fixed our rate with promising outlook. All these very good
Notes.
yeah,
Yes, and
pointers
notes about
for that,
yes. These were all indicators to our path, indeed. As you said, respectively, that ever since President Sisi assumed office, he has put his hands on an agenda that is with a very wide scope that tackles all the sectors of the economy, and he kind of started a real revolutionary plan for sustainable development, putting this very ambitious agenda of 2030. How do you evaluate these strategies and the steps that were taken in order to be able to achieve what we aspire for?
Yeah, I think His Excellency going according, as you said, Egypt Vision 2030 for sustainable development with 17 goals. He fighting poverty, he going for equity, he using the technology, he developing the housing and education and the health for the whole goals. I think he did around 20 initiatives and mega projects. The biggest one is the Decent Life.
We'll be speaking about those are presidential initiatives indeed.
It is a big initiatives, affording decent life for around more than 60 million people,
Indeed.
which costs around 700 billion Egyptian pound. I think all these initiatives supporting and aiming at the same time for the Egypt Vision 2030.
Indeed, the infrastructure, indeed, the agro or the agricultural projects that take place and agro industries, plus definitely industrial, the industrial boost the government gave for the industry, plus many of other sectors, health, education, you name it.
Yeah.
Also, there has been this cornerstone of Egypt's development, our transformation towards the digitization or the digital transformation of Egypt. And how far was this an important part of the Sustainable Development Plan in order to be able to have all data we need, and of course, definitely for our security?
Yeah, even the New Republic based on the smart technology era, because you know the technology is a common base for all other development, even construction, information transportation systems, for economy, for manufacturing, everything, even in healthcare and in education. I think for that, His Excellency got a lot of initiatives for digital transformation initiatives and Egypt digitalization. We suffering from, since 10 years, from a lack of information, and it is a big problem, because now the information is a new gold. This is why His Excellency built the biggest data centers in new administrative capital, cost around $1 billion, to hold all the databases, scattered databases. He integrated in one database containing all the information about 130 million Egyptian people, and all the IDs and all the, even the housing IDs and all the activities there. And we're developing all the infrastructure, the normal infrastructure and the digital infrastructure. We're raising our internet speed from 5 megabit per second to 45 megabit per second now in Cairo and in Giza and all these things. But in the new smart cities, beginning from 100 to 200 megabit per second, this is smart and high speed internet broadband. And even that for the country outside, like Sina, like New Valley, we launched a TIBA-1 satellite to covering the internet and communications in Toshka and all these things. I think we're preparing ourselves by developing the digital infrastructure and the biggest data center, and even we are re-engineering all the government sector's services to offer all these services to the citizen in digital form, 24/7, in easy and quick way, and paying the fees for these services online by any credit card or any through any payment gateway. All these steps fighting the corruption, because it is separated between the receiving the service and service provider. And again, we have now governance. His Excellency is saying usually in any project we need a governance for
good governance.
Yeah,
indeed,
but
for
why govern?
For utilizing
to utilizing every piece in the project, it is in money or not, to get more efficiency and effectiveness for the project.
Indeed. And just part of reaping the fruits of what we have seen. And before we go on with our discussion, let me have this report on Egypt's macroeconomic performance and challenges ahead by numbers.
economy, as it saw the intersection of the two fiscal years, 2020-21 and 2021-22, that were heavily impacted by the economic repercussions of the COVID-19 pandemic. Despite the pandemic's impacts, however, the Egyptian economy has managed to maintain its positive GDP growth in both 2019-2020 and the fiscal year 2020-2021, 3.6% and 3.3% respectively. Although this growth rate has lingered amid the ongoing challenges on the global and domestic levels. The value of Egypt's current fiscal year 2021-22, the first half of which concludes by the end of December, is estimated at £2.6 trillion, the biggest in Egypt's history, increasing from a value of £2.2 trillion for the fiscal year 2020-21. According to Minister of Planning and Economic Development Hala Said, Egypt's GDP is projected to grow by 6 to 7% in the second quarter of the fiscal year 2021-2022, October to December, which is lower than the first quarter growth of 9.8%. Egypt is targeting an economic growth rate of 5.5 to 5.7% during the fiscal year 2021-2022. Dr. Said also said that during the first quarter, Egypt's GDP grew by 9.8%, which is the highest quarterly growth rate over the past 2 decades and demonstrates improvement in the country's economy and a trend towards recovery from the pandemic. Additionally, the government has allocated £4.2 billion in order to support the export sector in light of the presidential directives to increase the value of Egyptian exports to £100 billion over the coming 3 years. Dealing with inflation is one of the government's key objectives in the fiscal year 2021-22, especially with the elevated global inflation rates and the continuous supply chain disruptions. It is worth noting that the Central Bank of Egypt has reset its target for inflation through the end of 2022 to 7%, give or take 2%, instead of 9%. The CBE has said that the action aims at supporting Egypt's economic stability. Egypt's headline annual inflation rate jumped in November to 6.3%, up from 2.7% in the same month in 2020, according to the CAPMAS. According to the recent update on the Global Debt Database released by the International Monetary Fund, Egypt's external debt is expected to jump to 91.4% of the country's GDP by the end of 2021, amid the pandemic and its associated challenges. By the end of the fiscal year 2019-2020, the government managed to reduce Egypt's overall debt to 88%, down from 108% for the fiscal year 2016-2017. In step with the MTDS, the government drafted a medium-term strategy in collaboration with the IMF to boost the budget's revenues. Through this strategy, the government eyes mobilizing the country's revenues to increase them by 2% of GDP over 4 years, supporting Egypt's targeted budget surpluses and creating room for priority spending on health, education, and social protection. The latest Fiscal Monitor report issued in October predicts Egypt's budget deficit will decline to 6.3% of GDP by the end of the fiscal year 2021-2022, compared to 7.3% for the fiscal year 2020-2021.
Right, welcome back. And as we were speaking, we were tackling the issue of the transformation to or digital transformation. Because we've raised this issue, then we have also to speak about improving telecommunication infrastructure. Yeah. We have also to speak about building new cities. And we're speaking here about new cities that are smart cities, yeah, that are cognitive cities, that are cities of the future.
Yeah.
So from your point of view, how do you view such important steps that we're taking, and why they are very important and inevitable?
Yeah, Egypt planning to build around 30 new smart cities. They began now by 14 of them.
Yes,
The biggest one is new administrative capital.
Actually, the last one was the Aswan that was just inaugurated by the president. Yes,
Because you know, the smart cities is still a new methodology all over the world, because it is controlled 100% by computers, by Internet of Things, by artificial intelligence applications.
Yes.
Because you know, all the infrastructure and the digital infrastructure and the traffic and the buildings and security and everything and management, all the services offered to the citizen there, controlled by computers, no human intervention at all. This is why it is very high sophisticated technology there. This is why I think when the new administrative capital, after 6 months from now, and the new employees going there, we shall feel a lot of improvement in the services, because all the services all over the Egypt running from there, by high-speed internet, and all the services coming through digital platforms, which is the Egypt platform, and even for mobile applications. We're paying all our payments through applications. This is, again, fighting the corruption, because you are separated from the service provider and the receiver.
indeed, because I can understand and have all the data base that I need in order to secure all the transformations and all the
all the transformation.
actions and transactions, right?
Yeah, because you know, we have very high security for the data transmitted from the data centers to the receiver and everything. It is encrypted anyway for all these things. Because now the big challenges all over the world is security issues.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah, this is why His Excellency, concerning all the people working in ICT sector, especially the telecommunication, we need 100% security over the data, because you know, all the data is the valuable data.
Indeed.
And again, we're trying to be in Egypt a society for less cash society, because you know, the cash society helping the corruption. When you're going all the transactions in digital form, you eliminating and fighting the corruption. And again, you're raving for the financial inclusion rating.
This was part also of an important conference that took place here in Egypt, and the whole world were very much praising such a conference, the anti-corruption conference that took place here, upon the parties of the UN agreement.
But anyway, the corruption spread all over the world. So
yes, definitely.
You cannot eliminate or fighting 100%. But anyway, you eliminating by a lot of using technology, using governance.
Yes,
yeah.
Good governance and the fighting of corruption is a must for any sustainable development to go ahead. You have respectively spoke at the very beginning about decent life.
Yeah.
Here I have to say that we are speaking about more than decent life. We're speaking about more than 7 presidential initiatives. The last was decent life, and decent life is the largest project that Egypt has seen in years. As you said, respectively covers 60 million people all over Egypt. That means that the National Strategic Plan has different dimensions, the economic, but also the social one. Let me take your reading to such presidential initiatives, and how important were they for the Egyptian citizen in order to be able to feel the dramatic, the enormous work that is going on?
Yeah, the main objectives for the Decent Life initiatives, the core business is to develop all the infrastructure in more than 5,000 villages. We are neglecting these villages since tens of years. We're developing all the infrastructure, developing the education, building schools, building new universities there, building new hospitals, and caring of them by all medical cares, and even for we caring about how to support them in SMEs. Because, you know, when you're giving money, as His Excellency said, you spend it. But when you're giving a new job or creating job opportunities in Upper Egypt, you open houses, you building families.
Actually, when you support financially entrepreneurs and startups in order to start their own work, this in itself is an important investment in the human
capabilities.
resources, capabilities and capacities. But the decent life is covering different aspects. We're speaking about, as you said, respectively, health, education. We're speaking about the more needy people, the infrastructure, the services, and that is only decent life. And we're speaking about other 7 presidential initiatives, including the 100 million lives, healthy lives. We're speaking about Takaful wa Karama. We're speaking about in 7 important, definitely the
all of
health
them
of
sharing
women,
in
empowering women,
the big umbrella.
Indeed, indeed. If we go into building the capacity or investing in our richness, in this is the most important. These are opportunities and challenges at the same time, because the growing population is a kind of real challenge to our sustainable development, but also is a kind of richness. So how are we changing or balancing this issue, changing the challenge into gains?
I think we need a lot of campaigns for educational and awareness to teach and develop the capabilities of the youth, to enter them for the market, to work. We would like to prepare them to search for international job, not only local job. This is why we educating now them in new universities. We build new colleges like artificial intelligence and Internet of Things and nanotechnology and biotechnology, because now the industry 4 will disappear around 50% of the traditional job. This is why we're preparing our people for the new job based on technology, based on smart technology, because since one month, I think, His Excellency Mr. President was in Kafr Sheikh University. He said to the students in Artificial Intelligence College, we need all of you to working in new administrative capitals and all the smart cities, because all the smart cities needs all these capabilities, new capabilities based on technology, artificial intelligence. This is why the Ministry of ICT is spending a lot of money to building capacity and the training and give development. Last year they trained around 200,000 from youth in these
Yes, another
new
presidential
technologies.
initiative, the PLP. And other initiatives that speaks about building calibers and empowering youth.
Everything.
I have only 1 minute remaining for me here, and I need from you to tell me, from your point of view, what are the challenges laying ahead?
I think that the challenges, we must learn, all the people, especially in the countryside and rural villages, how to eliminate and use efficiency in cultivation and in all jobs, to use their most effective ways in their jobs. Because you know, when you're working, just working without efficiency and effectiveness, you lost a lot of things. This is why we need to build their capacity, to build their capabilities, to work hard.
Exert the utmost effort and work with passion.
We hope so, but I think His Excellency, Mr. President, a very big model to all of us to know. He working from 5 o'clock in the morning till midnight in efficient way. This is why.
Trust me, sir, there is nobody, nobody, no human can do that. So we're not speaking about.
But we have a model. We have a model
yes,
now.
We have a role model.
This is why I think Egypt now going to be the pivotal country in the Middle East and in Africa. We now the second economic in Africa and the Middle East.
And
we're going more power now.
Yes, very much indeed. Unfortunately, my time is out here. And Dr. Abdel Wahab Ghoneim, Vice President of the Arab Federation for Digital Economy, thank you so much for being with us.
Thanks a lot, and Happy New Year for all the people. We hope the COVID-19 ends in 2022, and we wishing all the people good health and happiness.
Yes, very much indeed. And as Dr. Abdel Wahab here said, a Happy New Year. May this year be filled with blessings, prosperity, peace, and all the joy that it can bring for you and for everyone around the globe. Many thanks for watching. Next debate would be in the new year. So until then, good night.